So I've given the castings a good clean. Basically gave them a dry brush to get most of the old sawdust out, and then basically hosed them down with warm water and scrubbed them again, and they've come up quite well. I'm quite pleased. I think I managed to get most of the muck off. The original paintwork on these, I believe, was a hammerite finish. Yeah, sort of a pale greeny, yellowy green metallic. Probably as I said, hammerite. So what I'm going to do with those is simply I'm going to give them a light sand and then respray, probably again with a hammerite type paint, and that should sort the main castings out. Now the base it's quite interesting. Obviously the base looked fairly rusted from the top, but I'd not actually looked underneath it until I drilled the rivets out and removed the main casting. If we turn it over, you can see quite clearly that the underside is very badly rusted. so yeah, that's going to need some serious work. I'm going to find a container big enough so that I can douse this and soak it in vinegar. I mean, that'll all pretty much all come off, and you know, once it's, the vinegar will take most of it off, and then we'll wire brush it. So that can definitely be salvaged. The small parts have all cleaned up nicely. There was some surface rust on the chrome part of this on both sides, but it was only light, and I simply soaked it in vinegar for about 10 minutes, give it a little gentle brush with a brass wire brush, soaked it for another 10 minutes, did the same thing again, and it all came off. So that's looking like new now, which I'm quite pleased about. These pins, now, as I said, I've got to remake one of these, but I was looking at the circlips on these. I don't know how well you can see that, but they're incredibly thin. Now, this is a 9.5mm diameter shaft, and looking at commercial circlips for 9mm and 10mm shafts, they are at least 1mm thick, the circlip, and that's only 0.6 of a mil thick, that circlip. So what I think I'll do when I remake the bent one, which is this one, I think I shall simply make it with a I will start with a bit of 12mm bar, machine it down so that there is effectively a lip on the top, which is part of the actual shaft, and then rather than try and put a groove in and get a circlip, it's much easier just to make it with the lip already built in. So that's what we'll do when we remake that one. So yeah, next up I will probably do the sanding down of the castings and repainting the castings next. I'm still waiting for parts to come, various things like the switch and the new drive belt and stuff like that. So yes, well, I think I'll get on and do the castings. Probably won't film much of that because it's really boring watching somebody sand down a bit of metal. It's not interesting at all. So yeah, that'll be the next stage. Now I know you've heard me bang on about the magic of white vinegar as a rust removal solution, but I think the base plate for this bandsaw, I think, illustrates it just better than anything else. You all saw it before I actually did anything with it. Now it's been in the vinegar overnight and I've given it a damn good scrub with a wire brush and well, I mean, just look at it. I mean, that's the front. That wasn't anywhere near as bad as the back, but if I turn it round, there you go, all gone. Isn't that amazing? Just shows you just how good white vinegar is for removing rust, and unlike some other commercial rust removal products, it doesn't change the colour of the metal, it just gets rid of the rust. So yeah, it's done a marvellous job on this base. And it's also helped to take some of the paint off, which is great, because obviously I'm going to have to sand all that down and respray it. So there you go, white vinegar, magic stuff for rust removal. The castings have all been prepped for paintwork. What I've done is I got a box of 6mm and 5mm grub screws, and I've used those to block up the threaded holes where I don't want the paint to go in the main casting. But we're pretty much ready to go on the paint front. Obviously there's still quite a lot of paint on there. I gave it a light going over with the detail sander, but it was Hammerite paint on there originally, and the paint we're going to be putting on there is Hammerite itself. So I've opted for hammered silver finish, which is, I believe some of the Burgess saws actually were painted with that anyway. The base, the steel base, cleaned up really well. Well, you saw it after it came out of the vinegar, but I've given it the wire brush treatment, and I think you can see that it's come up pretty amazingly. So, and the only other part to be painted is the little bracket which holds the upper blade guide and shield in place. So that's been prepped ready as well. So we're ready to go. I think painting will be the next stage. Maybe, yeah, I mean, I've obviously got to let the paint harden off once I've sprayed it, so yeah, we'll probably do some more of the other work in the intervening stages, but I think this will do for now.